Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready? It's Jeff. Glad everybody's here. Really nice day here in Maine today. Sunny. Wasn't even really that cold out. But the roads are clear, but the friggin' sidewalks and the walkway. I don't know if the landlord kind of gave up on snow blowing, or maybe she laid off some of the workers, but they haven't been doing a very good job this year clearing the snow, because now all the path, which is quite a bit, I mean, there's a long path here, it goes around the apartment complexes here. That's all covered over with ice because they never bothered to fucking plow it, or snow blow it, like they usually do. But this year, they don't even out there. Some of the people are trying to shovel as much as they can. It's very long. Everybody would have to, chip in to do it, but it's quite a long stretch of sidewalk there. But I mean, they're still plowing the driveway. They just ain't doing the walkways, and that's hard for people that are bringing in groceries and stuff. They want to slip and fall. So I don't know. Anyway, I got a couple videos, and I got one here from Mike Polpak from Media's Touch, and he's talking about Elon Musk being blocked from grabbing any more data from the Treasury, by the courts, and he's being asked to, whatever he has collected so far, they want him to destroy it, pending the hearing or whatever they're going to do here to decide what the hell they're going to do with this this executive order here, or whatever this order from Trump is that gives Musk what he thinks the permission to go in and violate the Privacy Act. You've already got a plethora of states that are already complaining about this. So anyway, let's watch the video here. We'll come back.
Breaking news. A New York federal judge on an emergency basis has blocked, by issuing a temporary restraining order, Elon Musk and others from rummaging around the Treasury Department servers looking for our medical information, our most private financial information. In fact, the judge has ordered that anyone, including Elon Musk, the, quote, world's richest man, anyone who's already obtained such information over the last week or two has to destroy it until there's a subsequent hearing. This was led by Letitia James, the New York Attorney General, who already took down Donald Trump once for over $450 million in a civil fraud case. She's back, and she's joined with 18 other attorneys general to bring justice and to stop Donald Trump and Elon Musk dead in their tracks. I'm Michael Popak. You're on the Midas Touch Network and Legal AF. Let's dive into the new order on an emergency basis by Judge Paul Engelmeyer of the Southern District of New York, which means Manhattan. On an emergency application filed by 19 different states, led by Attorney General Letitia James, they argued that all of the access given to Elon Musk as special governmental employees by the Treasury Department and Trump violate the Administrative Procedures Act and violate the Take Care Clause of the United States Constitution. And they're seeking temporary relief. Because of how fast these things have already been moving, the judge was concerned that before they could even have a full-blown hearing on the temporary restraining order, which he has assigned already to Judge Jeanette Vargas, to take place on the 14th of February, on Friday, he needed to put an administrative temporary restraining order in place now because of the nature of the harm that's being presented here and the likelihood of success on the merits. So here is the actual order. The court on this emergency application orders that the defendants show cause, and the defendants here, of course, are the Donald Trump in his official capacity as the President of the United States, Scott Bessent for the Treasury Department and the Treasury Department. So all of those defendants have to appear before Judge Vargas on Friday to show cause why a preliminary injunction, that's one step up from a temporary restraining order, should not be issued. So they have the burden to show why it shouldn't be issued. During the pendency of this action concerning political appointees, special government employees, and any government employee detailed from an agency outside the Treasury Department, why they should not be stopped from accessing the Treasury Department payment systems or any other data maintained by the Treasury Department containing personal identifiable information. The judge also ordered that there has been sufficient cause being shown that pending the hearing of the state's application for a preliminary injunction on Friday, that the defendants, Trump, Musk, Bessent, are restrained from granting to any Treasury Department payment record. They're restrained from granting access to any Treasury Department payment record, payment system, or any other data systems maintained by the Treasury Department containing personally identifiable information and or confidential financial information of payees other than to civil servants with a need for access to perform their job within the Bureau of Fiscal Services, who have passed background checks and security clearances and taken all information security training called for in federal statutes and Treasury Department regulations. That means not you, Elon Musk. They are restrained from granting access to all political appointees, special government employees, and government employees detailed from an agency outside the Treasury Department. That's DOGE, that's Musk, giving them access to any payment record, payment system, or any other data maintained by the Treasury Department, including personally identifiable information and confidential financial information of taxpayers. And they are ordered to direct any person prohibited from above from having access to that information, but who has already accessed that information, records, or systems since January 20th of 2025 to immediately destroy any and all copies of the material downloaded from the Treasury Department's records and systems. And then then he sets up a briefing schedule to get this whole thing set up in front of Judge Vargas for Friday. And they'll have to post a bond. The states will post the bond for $10,000 to pay for some of this stuff. So that's two cases now, two injunctions that are now in place on the DOGE access through the Treasury Department of record keeping. I'm going to show you now a clip from Attorney General Letitia James, so you know how serious this all is. And here's her post now.
In the past week, Elon Musk and his so-called Department of Government Efficiency have accessed the personal private information of tens of millions of Americans and sensitive data about public and private entities, Social Security numbers, addresses, tax returns, and more. This unelected group, led by the world's richest man, is not authorized to have this information, and they explicitly sought this unauthorized access to illegally block payments that millions of Americans rely on. Payments for health care, child care, and other essential programs. Today, Democratic attorneys general are taking action to keep Americans' personal data secure, to keep sensitive information about Americans private, and to uphold our Constitution. We have filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration for giving unauthorized individuals access to these immensely sensitive records in violation of the law. President Trump does not have the power to give our private information away to whomever he wants. And he does not have the power to cut federal spending that Congress approved, much less to do so by giving the richest man in the world the keys to all Americans' most sensitive information. As Democratic attorneys general, we are suing to stop this unprecedented and unauthorized attack and to protect your personal information. As I've said before, no one is above the law, and I will not hesitate to uphold the rule of law and protect New Yorkers. Thank you.
Welcome back. So she takes it one step further. She said, this morning, we won a court order blocking Elon Musk, the world's richest man, from accessing America's private data. Musk and his DOGE employees must destroy all records they've obtained. I've said it before. I'll say it again. No one is above the law. Now, Letitia James, that's the one that there's people on the MAGA side who literally said out loud during the campaign that they wanted to put her, quote, fat ass in jail. She's back. As I've said, there are 22, at least, attorneys general around the country who are Democrats who are going to be going after Donald Trump twice a day, 3 times a day, every day, twice on Sunday until his administration is over. And they have an over 80% winning percentage from the first Trump administration. And right now, they are collectively in these suits, they are 9-0, almost 10-0. In these cases, Donald Trump hasn't won one of these federal hearings. 9 different injunctions, 2 preliminary injunctions already issued on various things. Now, there's 2 competing court cases about DOGE access of these servers by the Treasury Department, your and my personal classified information, financial information, healthcare information, and the rest. Think about all the things you've had to submit in order to get your benefits from the government. It's all there. There's a case in front of Judge Kolar Catelli, who's in the District of Columbia federal bench. She's forced the Department of Justice and the government to enter into a consent temporary restraining order that covers many of the same issues here. But this new temporary restraining order by Judge Engelmeyer is even broader. It's even broader. And they can exist parallel to each other. There was with some overlap. This is what happens when you file multiple cases in multiple courts. You want to do that because in case you get a bad ruling, at least you've got 3 or 4 different judges all looking at the same thing. Right now, the attorneys general, the civil liberty groups, the NAACPs and ACLUs of the world, they don't have to worry about conflicting decisions because they're just winning. It's just winning. They're not tired of winning, but it's all they're doing is winning. Got 11 separate court appearances. They're 11-0. Donald Trump hasn't won one, and the Trump Department of Justice is in shreds in terms of its credibility in front of these judges. So that's where we are right now in New York. But this is effectively a nationwide ban because it stops the Trump administration from doing this. Now, Steve Bissett, the Treasury Secretary, I saw his comments on Bloomberg recently, where he just said, no, there's no bad stuff going on here with me giving complete and total access to a stranger who doesn't have a national security clearance or hasn't been confirmed by the Senate to go rooting around in your most personal information. No. He's going to do things about efficiency. He's going to make this work more efficient. Does anybody believe this? Does anybody believe Scott Bissett, our Treasury Secretary, about what he thinks that Elon Musk is doing there, rooting around in our most private information? Here's the quote from Bissett that I almost like fell out of my chair when I read it. He said, Musk DOGE isn't altering Treasury data. He said, it's an operational review. It's not an ideological review, he told Bloomberg Television. The ability to change the system sits over at the Federal Reserve. We don't even run the system, he said. He said, these are highly trained professionals, the DOGE Musk people. This is not some roving band running around doing things. This is methodical, and it's going to yield big savings. So, I mean, not according to this judge, it's not. And you're not allowed to do it right now, especially if it violates the Administrative Procedures Act, because the Treasury Department is changing the way that it secures data without telling the American people that they've done that. So that's inappropriate, and it's a improper delegation and savings clause or takings clause under the take care clause, under the U.S. Constitution. We'll get to the bottom of it, but only in federal courts and right here on Midas Touch and on Legal AF. Continue to follow.
Okay. So, I've heard people say that what they ought to do is declare Musk a terrorist, so that way they can get rid of him. Maybe send him to a Guantanamo with all the immigrants they've sent there so far. I guess you could say that. I mean, he's not an American, and he's over here causing mayhem and trouble here in the government. So I guess you could say, yeah, he's a terrorist of a different sort, not one that goes around bombing anything, but he's got his hands in the cookie jar and he's stealing all the cookies. So I mean, you know, essentially, and yeah, I guess you could say, yeah, he's a terrorist, and we got laws against that sort of thing here, right? You know, thanks to George W. Bush, Patriot Act. So you know, there's hey, we can do stuff like that, you know. So all we have to do is say, yeah, he's a danger to the country, and therefore a terrorist. So let's get rid of him. Works for me. But Letitia James, you know, I'm glad she's doing something here. You know, she's trying to get. I think what she's trying to do is to get Democrats to see, look, Trump is not invincible, and if we stand up to him and we stand together against him, we're greater in strength and numbers than we are by ourselves, you know. And I think, you know, she's trying to show them that, hey, you can oppose him, okay? We can slow him down. You know, he's still issuing an executive order a day, or maybe 2 a day. I don't know. I think it's been 1 or 2 a day. He's been issuing these things like he's throwing out candy at a fucking Mardi Gras. And I feel like, you know, somebody's got to, you know, say, whoa, 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 you know, this is enough here, okay? You know, you can't even give time for the government to digest these things as you're spitting them out. You know, that alone should slow everything down. I mean, Christ, how can anyone sit and comprehend all this shit as you're throwing it out there and expecting everyone to just go, okay, okay, okay? No, people have to look at this stuff. So for the sake of just giving people a chance to understand and look at this stuff, you know, we ought to slow it down. Okay? I mean, I think this is ridiculous. It's not like we're at war with anybody yet. Okay? So it's not like we need to implement these executive orders right one behind the other here like that. I mean, Christ, what are these? He got like a stack of papers this high on his desk, and, you know, he's just sitting there signing his name without even reading what the hell's on it. You know, I mean that could be what it is. I mean, because it's all Project 2025 stuff that he's signing into making executive signatures for. So, you know, they probably already had all these things typed up and printed and ready to be signed the day he took the oath. And so he's in office, and so they piled this stack of papers there in front of him and said, okay, go to work, sign them. And each day, you know, or whatever, how he's signing this, signing that, and he's not even reading what the hell he's signing. Okay? And that, to me, makes more sense than him actually having an agenda to do this stuff. I think he's just doing somebody's bidding, you know, and you have, you know, the white Christian nationalists behind this Project 2025 thing here in the Heritage Foundation. You know, hey, it seems like they're calling the shots, right? They got the guy in office that'll listen to them, and all they got to do is say, okay, this is the next thing you got to do, Trump. And Trump's like, okay, you know, and he does it. What does he care, right? Christ, he ain't gonna live long enough to answer for any of these crimes. So, to me, that sounds like what the plan is here. Elon Musk, the wild card and everything, I guess. I'm not so sure it's wild, but he's kind of a random element because he's not attached to the government. Okay, he's, you know, just following Trump's lead, I guess, and doing what Trump wants. I don't know. I mean, how you'd classify the guy. He doesn't have any authorization to be tampering with anything as far as the Treasury goes and all that. Okay, he wasn't elected to the position that Trump kind of put him in, you know, which is unofficial. I don't think it's an official thing to have an outside agency like DOGE doing this stuff. I mean, that in itself is, you know, in violation of the Constitution. It's supposed to be a government entity, okay, formed by the government, not a corporation or whatever the hell you want to call it, formed by a billionaire, okay? No, it's not right. There's so many things that Trump's just, you know, smashing up as he goes, you know. And we don't hear enough complaining. I mean, Jesus, we heard more bitching and complaining about what happened during the withdrawal from Afghanistan under Biden than we have over all these violations of constitutional law, you know, that Trump's been doing. Okay, and I don't think that's right. I say, you know, they are owed the same in kind. Okay, they were a pariah against the Democrats and Biden for absolutely nothing. Okay, there ain't a damn thing that he did wrong that justified their anger to him. Okay, it was just party bullshit, party bullshit crap. That's all it was. And so we deserve the right. You know, we take the right to do the same to them, and we certainly have grounds. Okay, we ain't making this shit up. The stuff that Trump's doing, that's actually bad for the country. Okay, deserves to be, you know, spoken of repeatedly and often and loud. Okay, see, this is the difference between us and them, is because they make up shit to bitch about, and we don't have to. You know, they do stuff all the time that, you know, that's wrong, and we don't have to make anything up. But Republicans do, because they just, you know, the problem is they can't find anything wrong with Democrats, so they have to listen to somebody to tell them, okay, this is what you bitch about, you know, let's take up these religious causes, okay, because we know Democrats are more liberal and don't really follow any particular religion as closely as we do, so we can bitch and holler at them and over issues related to that. And that's how you create this fanaticism in the Republican Party, which evolved into MAGA. Okay, it was evangelicals who took up the cause to give the right wing an edge in bitching. Okay, and of course, abortion was the #1 thing on the list, and they've been beating Democrats over the head with that for years. And it's time to take that fucking rolling pin out of their hand. Okay, it really is. It's long past that time, because we already settled that debate a long time ago in this country, and they never were happy about losing on that issue. Okay, the problem is they don't want to review or understand why they lost that argument. Okay, they don't want to rehash that. In their mind, oh, it doesn't matter. They were wrong. They were just wrong. Okay, really. That's because you're not really studying what the hell the argument was based on, and how that applies to our country at large. You know, what kind of a nation are we? Are we going to give women right to their bodies, or are we just going to say, no, you're property of the United States government? Okay? You might as well tattoo a fucking number on their ass or something. That's just about how women feel these days, I think. Especially for those who are pregnant and can't get the treatment they want, or the doctors are afraid to give it to them. You know? Can't keep going down this fucking road. All right, so let's go to a commercial break, and then we come back. I'll have another video from the iHip girls. All right.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Roxy Sugar, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
Well, I was working air control, calculating vectors when a man I did not know
Sent me a memo and told me I had to go. Well, that kind of humiliation won't fly in private sectors. That's why civil servants need some badass protectors. Say your fire escapes won't work. When you have a fire, they got rid of the gal inspecting it. Oh, she was a DEI hire. Once they get a taste, they'll shift to overdrive. So you better get braced for more Project 2025. It did not take MAGA long to realize their mistake. When their 401ks tumbled, then they knew their dreams were fake. Don't know how people gonna pick those crops. Immigrants might do it, but it's giving me blood clots. And I said, what you don't want? A clean glass of water, ignore the climate change. Just as the temperature gets hotter, the government elites just sit around and talk. Meanwhile, everybody else can't afford a house the size of a shoebox.
We know who we work for. We know that we work for the American people. And what we're not going to do is stand around with ain't pulling this bullshit that they trying to pull right now. I'm here to tell you that we ain't never left y'all. All right? We are here. We are also going to make sure that we uphold the law. We are not going to sit around while you go ahead and desecrate our Constitution, or you look at the laws that have been passed into law and say, never mind, we'll just ignore that. Instead, we are going to be in your face, we are going to be on your asses, and we are going to make sure.
So finally, Elon Musk and Donald Trump got to me. Ideas and realizations were passing right through me. Don't try to figure out these men or those that they appoint. There is no rhyme or reason, cause the cruelty is a point. And I say fire escapes won't work. When you have a fire, you got rid of the gal inspecting it all. She was a DEI hire. Once they get a taste, they'll shift to overdrive. So you better get braced for more Project 2025. Hi, what's up? How you doing? It's good to see ya. What's your login? Okay, you're fired. Time's up. Gotta go.
Feeling my husband with 8 inches was like reliving our first time. Thanks to the salt trick, he makes me gush like a broken pipe. And just last month, I was ready to divorce my husband. But then he showed me his new 8-inch magic wand. Now, I can barely hold it in my hand. This salt trick is hands down the biggest advantage any man can have heading into 2025. I wasn't kidding when I said you should take it easy with this trick. It can turn a sad little twig into a raging anaconda. It's ridiculously simple. And it's heartbreaking to see so many men missing out on the chance to finally make their women happy. So far, this easy homemade trick has helped over 29,000 men naturally increase both size and thickness. This is the same secret top-paid adult film actors use to keep their bats way above average. It's also how they manage to handle 3, 4, or even 5 women in a row without losing their stamina. The best part? It works for men of all ages, takes just 30 seconds before bed, and can give you some incredible results in no time. If you want to skip the details and go straight to the video, just click the Watch Now button below to learn how to pull off this simple but powerful trick tonight. You should probably watch it alone, if you know what I mean. Don't waste any more time. Watch it before it gets taken down or you can't find this video anymore. Your wife or girlfriend will thank you for the rest of her life.
Breaking the law, breaking the law. 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 Breaking the law, breaking the law.
Be a part of of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Okay, welcome back. All right, so like I said, I have another video from iHit News, and they're going to talk about how Trump has deceived people about Project 2025 and who really is behind it and pushing Trump to do these things. So let's go to that video here, and then we'll discuss that on the other side.
The Senate approved Project 2025. Author, nutball, conspiracy theorist, and all-around sociopath Russell Vought. Let's watch this video.
Runs a group called Center for Renewing America.
An organization that I helped turn into the Death Star that is accomplishing all the debates that you are reading about. I think you have to rehabilitate Christian nationalism. You have the largest deportation in history, block funding for Planned Parenthood. I want to be the person that crushes the deep state.
So this is, Trump said, I don't know anything about Project 2025. Here's the thing that everybody has to realize about Trump. He doesn't give a shit about Christian nationalism. He doesn't really even give a shit about governing. He just wants to be Mr. Popular. That's what he cares about. He wants to be on TV, and he wants to fight with like 60 Minutes over the Kamala Harris thing, and then talk about the 2020 election and go on and on about Hannibal Lecter. He's so intellectually lazy that the fact that the Heritage Foundation is dead serious about all this Christian nationalist, dangerous bananas. It's exactly like all of the things they say that they hate about Middle Eastern countries is exactly what they want to do in the United States of America. Just take away Islam, insert Christianity. Trump will go ahead and go with all of that because they've done all the work, because he's lazy. He wants to do executive order show and tell. He wants to bop around to music and talk about Hannibal Lecter. He is a lazy, lazy, lazy person.
Well, and this Russell Vought, he is just the grossest. And here's the thing. In Project 2025, they want to shut down the Department of Education. What's Trump want to do now? Shut down the Department of Education. Project 2025 is misogynistic. It's racist. It is going to be the absolute. These evangelical Christians are getting everything they want, and it's up to us to stop it at every turn. Because I'll tell you what the next thing is a national abortion ban. That's what's coming. Make no mistake. And here's the thing. Trump knows that this guy will take all the heat for it, and he'll come out smelling like a rose. Trump owns this shit. He owns every single bit of it and the dysfunction that follows. And you call him intellectually lazy. I think he's just a dipshit. That's my opinion.
Also, it's important to point out that Project 2025 is wildly unpopular with the American public. So a lot of this, as we watch Trump 2.0, I advise that we're going to have to let them do a bunch of this shit and then sit back and fill the void. The Democrats have to move in and say, this is what he does. He takes a wrecking ball to everything that you like. A lot of these things that they're going to cut, Americans don't realize it, but they enjoy it. They enjoy flying on an airplane, knowing that a business isn't dictating what the flight path is to placate to shareholders so that they can have a bigger profit. They like the fact that these things are run by the government. They just don't realize it yet. So as these things are being stripped, the Democrats have a huge void to come in and fill, because all of this shit with Project 2025 is wildly unpopular. Okay, let's listen to this next clip from this deranged sociopath, Russell Vought.
We want to meet the man writing the game plan for Trump's second administration. Vote believes that in his first term, Trump's agenda was frustrated by what he calls the deep state. So Vote is planning a radical centralization of government power under the president, firing civil servants and ending the independence of agencies like the FBI and DOJ.
80% of my time is working on the plans of what's necessary to take control of these bureaucracies. And we are working doggedly on that, whether it's destroying their agency's notion of independence. They're independent from the president.
So this is the consolidation of power in the executive branch, and it's all very dangerous stuff. And this guy is a total sociopath, and it is horrible. It is terrifying. It is all of those things, viewer. But some of these things are going to have to happen so that we can launch the counter programming to MAGA. Trump rolls it out. The press sane washes it during the election. You have Latinos for Trump, some random blacks for Trump. Oh, and then we have, all of the Arabs in Michigan for Trump. And look at what happens. Look at what's happening right now. But more than anything, a lot of his white supporters that depend on a lot of these government-run agencies for safety, for products, for oversight. When they start removing those, the American public is going to be outraged. They're going to join us in this. It will happen. Pumps, what's your take?
Well, it's interesting because you look at Project 2025 in its entirety, and all it is a consolidation of power in the executive branch. And that assumes that Donald Trump is the executive. So they want all the power consolidated for a Republican. And them calling, I don't know what the deep state is. They are the deep state. They are trying to take away the three branches of government. They are trying to take away the legislative power and put it in the executive branch. Would they be that gung-ho for it if Kamala Harris was the president? I tend to doubt it. And what's interesting about all of these programs like you're talking about, based on my review of what these programs do and how the money is spent, they disproportionately go to red states. And that's the case. So I'm afraid that you're exactly right. The really bad stuff has to happen before people understand that it matters to them, that just because it happens to somebody else, they don't give a shit. But when it happens to them, they care. And hopefully, Fox News is like completely changing how it talks about inflation and the price of eggs, now saying, oh, well, it's increase in price of eggs is because of the national defense. I don't know how long they'll be able to sane wash all the stuff that he's doing once every American starts feeling it.
The one thing that people need to realize, Republicans, and particularly Trump, are terrible at governing. They are not good at governing. They operate under this myth that the government should be run like a business. And that is a total myth. The government cannot be run like a business. The government is not a business. But all these white business guys, these crusty old guys, with their suits and the red ties, show up to go meet with Trump in the Oval Office. And they're like, let's trim the fat. Let's do all of this stuff. It doesn't work. It fails, and they deregulate. And then these, corporations go belly up, and then the taxpayers bail them out. All of this shit, they use Christian nationalism as a way to rope in people. It's like an emotional blackmail to these people. Like they feel like if they mention God, then, oh, this politician mentioned God, so I must vote this way. They want to deter any form of critical thinking. Let's watch one more clip about the Christian nationalism of this man.
Loyalists installed in key government agencies and armed with his playbook, Vote believes a radical Christian nationalist agenda can be realized under a second Trump presidency. For example, on abortion.
So I think the president's actually come up with a strategy that works, so long as you are giving people like me in the government the ability to block funding for Planned Parenthood, block funding for fetal tissue research. But what I've told people is, he had the most pro-life record ever. I've never seen him take it to stand in the way of a pro-life initiative that actually was real, politically, and with momentum.
Okay, you and I, Pumps, we know a lot of people that have gotten pregnant through IVF.
Right.
And we live in Oklahoma City, listener, and it's a very purple city. A lot of these people are MAGA voters. And here's what I have to say. And I think do it. Ban IVF. Do it under Trump. Ban it. Do it. Do it before the midterms. I double dog dare you. Fucking do it.
I completely agree because people want to be able to start their families however they want. Now, these same people, the fundamentalist right-wing nutters, they don't want anybody else to be able to do it, but at least they want to do it. It's important to them. And so the thing about it is, if I remember correctly, Project 2025's approval rating was less than communism during the election. And now these policies are going to roll out and we're going to feel it. So I'm with you. Do it before the midterm.
And listen to this. Every Republican that voted for this guy, Democrats, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to listen to everything that this man said on tape. We know all these MAGA people lie when they're in front of Congress. Look at Brett Kavanaugh. Look at the handmaid, Amy Coney Barrett. Look at Neil Gorsuch. Lies, 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 lies. That's what they do. This guy on this hidden camera right here talking about Christian nationalism, and every Republican that just voted to confirm him as Secretary of the OMB, you're on record supporting Christian nationalism. You're on record advocating for a national abortion ban. There will be no daylight between your vote for this man and the policies that he says when he doesn't think he's being filmed. And the Democrats have got to attack in the midterms. Any senator that voted for this, you are okay with this. You are okay with banning all of this shit and eroding the separation of church and state. And we're just going to start keeping record. We're going to start keeping a little ticker of all of this shit that you all vote for, and organize and mobilize. And in the midterms, absolutely mop the floor with them, because Article 1 still exists and it will exist as long as we all stay engaged and keep fighting for it. Stick with us for more uplifting tips in Trump's second term.
You know, this thing here, you know, Trump doing about ethnic cleansing in Gaza, okay? You know, to do that over there, you know, in the manner that he's, you know, tap dancing himself into, I guess. All right. You know, it's not difficult for somebody who will do that overseas to clean out, you know, a certain group of people. They would just as likely be the same person who would do that right here in our own country to get rid of certain people that they don't like. Think about that for a minute. I mean, if Trump doesn't have much, you know, conscience, self-conscious about that, you know, and thinking that it's wrong, then why would he not do it here? I mean, he is kind of already, right, with the immigrants, you know, but who's to say he'll stop with that? We know he doesn't like black people, you know, despite his protestations on how we feel about him and his history about how he's treated black people. So, you know, he could easily turn on them and say those are the next people we need to get out of this country. And, you know, I feel like, you know, a guy like that who wouldn't think twice about just going into another country and say, okay, I'll clean out these people. Doesn't matter who they are. Criminals, non-criminals, soldiers, non-soldiers, you know, women, children. I'm just going to go in there and get rid of them all, and then we'll dump them on Ireland. Okay? Or whatever we want to do to them. Send them to Guantanamo or anywhere but there. The rest of the world would look at that in shock, saying they'd never thought the United States would do something like that. That's because they never lived in this country that long to really understand that this America is capable of anything depending on who's running the fucking show. Okay? Because we got a lot of wackadoodles in this country, and we got one of those wackadoodles sitting in the White House right now. You know, So you can't say for absolute 100% certainty that America won't do this, won't do that, you know, or anything, because all it takes is the right frame of mind in this country, and MAGA is of that frame of mind, enough numbers of them to be able to take power away from the people who are sane. Okay, so it's a shock to the rest of the world, but it shouldn't be. They should have expected it, you know. I mean, I'm not going to say they all do, but I'm just going to say that, you know, for the most part, they keep an eye on American politics here around the world, because we're a superpower, right? Just like we keep following what's going on in China or what's going on in Russia, you know, we try to watch them because they're superpowers, okay? And so, you know, they watch us, we watch them, and so, you know, they may not know the nuances because they don't live here of things, but they are seeing on the surface what's going on, and it has to scare them to some, you know, degree, because, you know, a country with the kind of military that we have, it would be, you know, very unfortunate if our leadership should fall into some pretty criminalized hands, and, you know, that would be a very nasty turn of events for the rest of the world if our country was to succumb to the very thing that we tried to get rid of around the world, and that's, you know, fascism. And, you know, when they see one of their superpower world countries, you know, because that would be three, right? I mean, you got, you know, Russia, America, you know, hey, the rest of the world would be very, very fearful of that. And so it's up to Americans to make sure that we don't allow that to go that far. And for whatever kind of action that requires, we have to be willing to take it. We can't just sit on our laurels here, okay? And these girls here that was talking about how, you know, this, okay, we'll just take the issue of abortion. They say, well, fine, let the country do this national abortion ban and see where that gets them. Okay, let them do that, because when people start to suffer, that's when they come together. That's when they cross the political divide and they come together under a common cause. And like it or not, a lot of Republicans out there are not, you know, for an abortion ban of any kind. Okay, if you take a look at the statistics and polling data about that particular issue, the majority of the country is against that sort of thing. Okay, there's only a small percentage of the country that's for it. But, you know, even in the red states, you got people that aren't for it. So, in other words, Trump's ramrodding this fucking thing into reality. And like I said before, this was his plan. Well, maybe it wasn't his personal plan, but it was the plan of the Heritage Foundation to implement this in steps. First, you argue that each state should have their own choice on whether to ban it or not. Then when that's allowed, then you come back a little later and you say, now we want this to be a national ban. Because, hey, after a while, the states that have done the ban, it's like, it's not a much bigger step to just make it a federal ban, okay? It's much easier to get that federal ban if you do it in steps, but you can't, if you just go right to and say we want a federal ban, okay, everyone's going to be against it, but if you do it state by state, you know, and people see that they're doing this, then it becomes an easier thing to accept because it's already been done in other states. You see, it's a step-by-step way of getting what they eventually want, which is a complete ban across the board on that. And we've already seen that the states that are banning this are showing some pretty nasty results from it. Okay, and the Democrats need to keep bringing that up and hammering it home that this is not a good thing. A ban is not helping. It's actually making things worse, okay? Because not only are you putting the fetus at risk, okay, the baby, you're also putting the mother at risk, okay? So you're not, instead of the chance of losing one life, now you're going to lose two. Okay? And they can't save the fetus, you know, if the mother dies. You know? And but for these people to argue that, and the Democrats need to come out and say, well, you're arguing then that the mother's life is worthless, even though you people want women to have children. Okay, you're saying, well, women aren't that important. So what the hell? What value do you place on a woman's life? Okay, when you treat them like a machine. All right, they're nothing but baby factories to you. In other words. So if the factory doesn't work, you just shut it down, right? And that's how you're looking at it. Okay, you people, you're always bitching and complaining that, you know, family values. We don't have that. Well, what kind of family value do you have when it's okay to sacrifice a mother, okay, for the chance of having a preemie, you know, that may or may not survive, okay? Because they were born too early or something happened during the pregnancy that put the baby at risk and it died in the womb. And you want to have, you know, you just want them to do something, you know, to somehow bring it back to life. I mean, come on. It's a biological function. It's not something that has a divine hand in it. You might think that it does. And if it does, then every baby would always be born perfect, right? But it isn't. Every baby has got issues, serious ones or not serious ones, but they're not perfect. Some don't even make it to birth. Okay? It's a biological. It's up to nature. It's up to biology to decide that. Not up to your religion. Okay? And certainly not even the doctor, for that matter, because even the doctor can only do so much. All right, so it's really up to fate, to nature, okay, how this baby will be born. And if it's meant to be born, it will be. And if it's not, it won't be. Okay? But women are not going out there having abortions every week because, oh, oops, I got pregnant. Okay, they seem to think that, you know, there's a line of people at an abortion clinic who are just there after a weekend hiatus in Las Vegas or something, and they got pregnant, okay, and they're there to, you know, come on. And then the other side of the argument's like, oh, well, they're having abortions when it's been 8 months or 9 months into the pregnancy. That's a fucking lie, okay? That's never happened anywhere, okay? They can't even give you an example of that ever happening. They can't. They say this all the time, but hey, I haven't seen any evidence to show that that's true. And everybody that I've heard talk about it said that's never happened. Okay? So these people, you know, they will say and do anything. It's just, it's that, either they do that or they try to scare people like they do down here at the Humane Society, where they got these people that are anti-abortionists who come there every once in a while, and they put up these gross-looking pictures of fetuses, you know, that are all bloody and stuff. Of course, you never know. They've taken that image out of context because you don't know what went on in that picture, if that fetus was already dead or whatever or something. No, they take a picture of that, and they make a poster size out of it, and they stand there with that up, and, you know, they try to scare people with that. You know. But, you know, that's what you got. And in bringing it back here to Project 2025, essentially that's their agenda, is to ram as much of their shit down people's throat as they can, probably in an attempt to do this before the primaries, because they know it's going to be unpopular. All these things they're trying to get Trump to do now. They know it'll be unpopular. And they figure if we can get all this through as much as we can before the primaries, then, you know, at least we've accomplished that. But what these jackasses aren't thinking is that, hey, if he loses big in the primaries, okay, if the MAGA loses big in the primaries, then you can kiss anything else Trump tries to do goodbye. And you could be looking at that point, more power to Democrats to be able to come down on Trump legally judicially, okay, constitutionally, on things that he already did before, you know, in an attempt to undo all this stuff. And I think what the IHIP girls are sitting here talking about is that maybe we should allow them to go ahead and do this, you know, abortion thing, just to make people suffer, so that way our chances are greater to get the Republicans out of power in the midterms, because it's guaranteed to make people pissed off, angry, and radicalize them to go after Trump. Okay, that kind of thing is guaranteed to do just that. If you want to piss off, if you want to piss off the left wing, go ahead and implement your bans. Go all and do all these things that Trump's doing. I guarantee you, he'll be, if he won't be out of office, you know, before the midterms, he certainly will lose a lot of power in the Congress and the Senate. And you know, it'll slow him down even more to a crawl at that point, because then it ain't gonna matter much about what the Supreme Court says or doesn't said or say, but you know, things are just going to get held up in the houses and dealt with there, and everything will just keep getting kicked back to the Supreme Court all the time. So Trump will be spending the rest of his time just playing badminton, you know, with the Democrats as they keep punting everything back to him, you know. So in other words, he'd be a lame duck president at that point. It won't matter how many executive orders he fucking signs. So, I mean, it's sad that, you know, we have to play it this way, but hey, Republicans have played it dirty against us for a very long time, and Democrats have taken it on the chin every fucking time they get into power. And they, you know, they try to play it honest and everything, but Republicans aren't interested in who's being honest, who's on the high ground, okay? They don't care. What they care about is winning. That's what they care about. And to cheat to win is still a win. To, you know, kill someone's, you know, grandmother to get a win is still a win, okay? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter how they win this thing. It's just they win, and that's what's important. And Democrats have to understand, if you're going to fight people like that, you're going to have to be as determined as they are to win, which means you're going to have to do some things you would normally do, okay, in order to counter what they're doing. You know, I'm sorry that's the way it is. It'd be nice if both parties could stand on a high ground of some kind, but one side has already given up the high ground, okay? That party that used to be religious right, the family values, all this stuff that they entitled themselves with, they gave all that up a long time ago. They gave it up because they got sick and tired of losing to Democrats' high ground ideals. They found that, you know, they weren't winning, they were actually losing voters. And so in order to gain voters, they had to radicalize themselves into this fucking circus that they've become now. And it's, you know, it's very hard to control that circus once you've created it. You know, it can fly off the handle easy. And if you don't have the right people around to keep it tamed, you know, before you know it, these people will turn on you, you know. And that's kind of where Trump is right now. I mean, he's at the point, especially with Elon Musk. I mean, he's got people in MAGA, you know, turning on Elon Musk. And big mouths like Candace Owens, okay, that are out there stirring the shit. You know, they're attacking her. So, you know, you see what I mean about trying to control a circus? I mean, these people are so radicalized that because they feel like they're above the law, they also feel like they can control everybody that's around them, you know, and they can do whatever the hell they want because it's, hey, who's going to punish me, right? And of course, when Trump released all those January 6th rioters, they're the terrorists, okay? They certainly come out of there feeling like, oh, I'm untouchable, okay? I'm sure a lot of them felt that way. So, you know, like I said, this is, you know, these things happening right now. It's when Trump said that he didn't know anything about Project 2025, everybody knew that was bullshit, because the policies and things that he was talking about came right out of that goddamn manifesto. And his Vance, J.D. Vance, his fucking hand was in the creation of that Project 2025. His name was right in it. So it's no surprise that he would be cuddling up to Trump, you know, when he was running for president, because that's, you know, pretty much what Project 2025 wanted, was somebody there to guarantee that their manifesto would be taken seriously and be used as they intended it, you know. But, you know, like I said, this ethnic cleansing thing, you know, if and when it happens, that right there is going to create a huge fucking, I mean, they're already fucking protesting in different parts of the country right now. Right here in Maine, they just had one in Portland, peace protesters, I mean, you know, activists out at the government buildings down there and stuff. And so, you know, we got people here in the cold, out in the cold, you know, protesting and doing stuff. So, you know, it's happening. And you know, and here in where the hell was it? Was it Ohio? I think it was Ohio. There was an overpass over there, an interstate there, and I don't know exactly where, but if you look it up online, you can probably find pictures of it. There was like maybe 10 people on an overpass over an interstate, and they all had swastika flags, and they had their faces covered up to here with these red scarves or whatever, black clothes, and, you know, saying whites for America only or some damn thing like that. And I guess the police were called, and they were pushed away, you know, get out of here or something like that. Because, I mean, there's a whole bunch of photographs online that I saw. Somebody had posted it on Reddit. This thing that happened, I think it was today, this morning, or yesterday, maybe, I don't know, but it was just recently. And so, and then a street camera had recorded the cops showing up and escorting these people out. You know, and I'm thinking, well, look, you know, if you're going to let people that are anti-American do that kind of shit and give them protection, then what does that say about your values as an American? Okay, you either stand up for the principles of this country, which is, you know, acceptance of diversity, you know, and an open door to let people of all stripes come into this country. Okay, if you're going to do that, and then you're going to protect people that don't want any of that, you know, how can you have a Statue of Liberty? You know, how can you be proud to be an American? You know, and say we're a land of opportunity. You know, and you know, people can come here to make something of themselves. You know, all that talk doesn't mean a whole lot when you protect, you know, the American Nazi Party and all these other groups that are out there that are anti-American, and let them do and get away with these things. You don't arrest them or anything like that. You just, you know, I mean, come on. I mean, it's one thing that, you know, if you want to put a swastika in your fucking yard, that's your business. It's your yard. But you go to a fucking public area, like an overpass on an interstate, and you got big fucking banners with swastikas, you know, that's all different right there. You shouldn't be allowed to do that sort of thing. Okay? That's not your property. And I think that, you know, you're going to have to come. I mean, I read today the airline industry's putting more rules on customers about how they can behave on an airplane. And I'm thinking, well, if they're going to do that, why can't we go to this other issue here with people and their fucking swastika flags and say, you know what, we're going to implement some more rules here on conduct in this country about what you can and can't fly around in public places. Okay, would it be so difficult, you know, and unacceptable? I mean, the bitch about how people are on an airplane is like, you know, how is that affecting me? But if you put, you know, somebody out there with a fucking swastika insulting every fucking car that goes by, you know, with that silly fucking symbol, okay, you're pissing off all kinds of people. You're trying to provoke them into doing something. All right? I don't know. Our country, it needs to grow a pair and decide, you know, does the Constitution mean anything to us, or is it just something that we ought to set fire to? Okay? Your answer will decide the kind of person you are, I think. All right, let's call it a day here, and then we'll come back another time. So please subscribe, comment, and share, and stay aware of what's going on out there and health-related issues, and work with each other out there as a community to support one another as we go through these dark times. And I will talk to you again later, so take care, everybody. Bye-bye.